All right. I think people are still coming in. We'll go ahead and get started. So we've got clients and friends from I'm David from Adams Wealth Partners, and we've got Gentian Financial and also Freeze Financial, good friends of our offices. We've done this for a couple of years, bringing different kind of overall life wellness concepts and value adds to our clients. And part of that has been a good friend of ours, Michelle Norris, who's been doing these webinars for a couple of years. And so today we're talking about, I believe it was eating for aging. Is that right, Michelle?
That's
Okay.
correct.
So that is a topic, but we're going to talk about several different things. Michelle is great. We're also going to be doing Q&A. And so at the bottom of your screen, you should have it says Q&A. You can type in a question. And if one of our offices, if we happen to see the question and it's relevant to that slide and we catch it in time, we will bring it up right then to Michelle. Otherwise, we'll do all the questions at the end and just kind of keep it organic and flowing. So thank you for being on today. And I'll let Freeze office or Gentian say something as well.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Kathy Johnson from Freeze Financial. I'd like to welcome our clients and just say thank you for joining us. As most of you know, we do like to take a holistic approach to helping our clients, and one way we can do it is finding opportunities like this to help you live more fully. After all, what's good for your wealth is, what's all about your health. So we just want to take this opportunity to introduce you to Michelle. For those of you that have met her, we're excited to hear what she has to say. And then Ken, go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Kathy, David, Michelle. Great to be here with you all. Want to welcome everybody to the Zoom webinar today. I keep talking to people, and I met this gentleman over the weekend, and he's 74 years old, and he's like, yeah, I'm getting older, but I haven't grown up yet. So I can't wait to hear what this aging and this health thing has to do with everything here. And here at Gentian, it's Plan It, Live It, Give It. And so we come to the basis together of the planning part, of the financial part, but we've learned that the live it part can be a little bit more difficult for people in retirement. So I can't wait to hear what the eating has to do with it, the aging of it as well. So can't wait to hear these 5-star tips, Michelle. So with that being said, I hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Ken. Oh, David, you got anything else?
Nope, just do your magic.
Okay, all
Glad to
right.
have you.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I love these presentations so much. You guys are full of great questions. And today's topic, I think, is perfect, especially for this setting, because who cares if you are very wealthy at the end of your life if you don't have your health, right? Those two things only work if you've got, or it's a beautiful picture if you've got both, right? And so today I want to give you some tips to set you up for how to be able to fully enjoy the wealth that these amazing humans have created for you and that you've worked so hard for a lifetime. And so there are plenty of things that we can be doing, no matter whether you're on this call and you're 30 years old or you're 70 years old, maybe you're 85 years old. And if you're 85 years old and you're on a Zoom call, I think that's absolutely incredible. Can you teach my grandparents? Anyways, so I have some tips for you. If you've never heard me speak before, my name is Michelle Norris. I'm the owner of Altitude Wellness. My job is predominantly to go into companies and work with employees on their health and wellness journey. So essentially, I go in and I do health coaching. We do company-wide challenges. We do biometric screenings, a number of different wellness initiatives to help increase the health of the companies for more happy, more productive, more less sick time from the employees. So I'm sitting actually on site with a client right now. I'm doing health coaching all day. So I took an hour gap between people, but the rest of today I have 30-minute sessions where employees will come in one after the other to have these individual health coaching sessions with me. So they ask personal wellness questions, and that's available to you guys as well. If you guys get off this call and you think, man, I really wanted to ask her about X, Y, or Z, please email me, call me, text me anytime. I'd love to hear wherever you are on your wellness journey and help guide you in any way that I can. Okay, so with that, let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. We've got eating for the aging here, and we're actually going to touch on more than just eating, because there's lots of components to this idea of longevity. So before we do that, I want to give you a little overview. We're going to define health. What exactly is healthy? Okay. And hopefully it's some things that we can all agree upon. And then we're going to go into how do we achieve that healthy that we previously defined. We're going to talk a lot about nutrition, but then we're also going to talk about physical activity geared towards longevity, optimizing your immune health, what regular checkups we should be doing, and then this idea of purpose or your ikigai and how does that play into living a long time. So when we define health, here's what I think about when I think about health. And if you guys feel like there are other things that when you think about what is healthy that aren't on this screen, throw them in the chat and maybe somebody can read them out to me. But when we define health, when we define longevity, things that we want to think about is I want to live, and this is my personal goal, and maybe it is yours too. I want to live a long time, but I want those later years of my life to be full of life. I want to be able to move my body. I want to be able to pick up my grandkids, my great grandkids. I want to be able to go swimming. I don't want to be on a laundry list of medicines. I don't want to be in and out of the hospital, in and out of a doctor's office. I don't want to be in a wheelchair if I can help it. So I want to be mobile and vigilant a lot, feeling alive even as we age. I think with the health decline of our society, we feel as if it's normal to be 70, 80 years old and, oh, I can't do that anymore. I'm this age. Oh, and we start blaming it on age that we are unable to do activities of daily living, or now we have to move to a walker or wheelchair. And I want to show you what's possible if we start taking care of ourselves now. Okay, so what is healthy? We want to maintain, this is not in any order, by the way. So it's not like the very most important thing is maintaining a healthy body composition. I think all of these are equally important. One of the things, how we define health, is maintaining a healthy body composition. And for me, this is not about a weight on the scale. This is about your body fat percentage and how much muscle mass you have. Okay, because you can be a 5'5" female, weigh 130 pounds, but you carry significantly more fat than you do muscle. That's not a healthy situation for the body. You might have visceral fat around the belly, which makes fat around your organs, which then they don't work as well when they're surrounded by that visceral fat. So how do we know what our body composition is? How do we know what our body fat percentage is? You can see right there, women 18 to 28% body fat, men 10 to 20% body fat. Those are the ideal ranges when it comes to body fat percentage. If you have access to what's called an in-body scanner, you can find them at a local gym, you can find them at a local weight loss center, but if you want to go in and just pay the 20 or 30 bucks to do a scan, a one-time scan, to figure out how many pounds of muscle am I carrying? How many pounds of fat am I carrying? What's my body fat percentage? That is an incredible way to get a real reading on what's going on the inside. You might recognize that you have been on a weight loss journey, or you've been trying to change your body composition for a while, and you started eating healthy and you started working out, but the scale didn't move. And I see this all the time. I'm still 150, I'm still 150, I'm still 150, but we have an in-body scanner that I use one-on-one with clients. And I've seen this happen all the time. The scale didn't move, but they gained muscle and lost body fat. So their body composition on the inside changed dramatically for the better. But had they not had that access to that in-body scanner, they would have thought that nothing was happening. Okay. So if you have, and maybe you are like, yes, I absolutely want to do that, but I have no idea how to access that. Please reach out to me. It's very easy. I can go on their website for you. I just need your zip code, and I can find you 2 or 3 places that are near you where you can go and schedule an appointment, drop in and do that in-body scan. If they don't have a person that can go over the results with you, I would love to be that person for you. Just send me your results, take a picture of them, email them to me, and we can go through them together. We can create some goals. Maybe you want to do one now and you want to do one in 6 months because you really want to either maintain all that muscle mass that you have. Maybe you want to lose some fat, whatever it is. I think it's a great, wonderful thing to regularly do 2 or 3 times a year to make sure as we're aging, we're not gaining fat year after year. We're not losing muscle year after year. Okay. Another thing that's really important when it comes to defining health is we want to make sure that we're getting our labs done once a year, twice a year, and things to look out for on our labs. We want a healthy blood pressure. Blood pressure is known as the silent killer. Okay, because there aren't really any side effects that come along with having an elevated blood pressure. You might be walking around with a blood pressure of 180 over 120 and you don't really feel anything. So the only way to know is to check. Next time you're in CVS, go to the back of the CVS, put the cuff on and just see where you are. We want a blood pressure of under 120 over 80. Your triglycerides, this is a really important marker. This is letting yourself and your physician know, how are you doing with your processed food intake? If you are eating a diet of high processed foods, high sugar, a lot of bread, a lot of pasta, your triglycerides are going to come up. That puts you at higher risk for heart attack, stroke, and diabetes. We want our triglycerides under 150. And maybe you're sitting there thinking right now, I went to the doctor 2 months ago and my numbers do not look like this. They're all out of range. Please reach out to me. I would love to help you. Okay. A1C, that's how we diagnose pre-diabetes and diabetes. You want an A1C under 5.6. That's a screenshot. That's a picture of your blood sugar for 3 months leading up to the day of the test. Okay, so it's an idea of how have you been doing with your nutrition for 3 months leading up to the day of the test, and exercise plays a big role there too. You want A1C under 5.6. And if your doctor's not already doing your CRP, C-reactive protein, this is a marker of systemic inflammation in the body. We want a CRP of under 3. If you have an elevated CRP, we've talked about inflammation in the past. Roughly 80% of disease is rooted in systemic inflammation. So if this is high, that puts you at higher risk of any chronic disease, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you name it. Okay.
Question, Michelle.
Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody asked, for CRP, is that the same thing on labs where it says HS-CRP?
That is correct. Yes, same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So if whoever asked that, I'm really glad that your provider is doing that for you. We just want to make sure that it's under 3. Okay. Other markers of health, we're able to do activities of daily living. What do you want to do and are you able to do it? Can you go up the stairs in your house? Can you tie your shoes? Do you want to go to an exercise class and can you conquer that? Can you get down on the floor and play with your grandbabies and can you get back up? So a little test to be able to see where you are. Peter Attia, you guys have heard me reference him before. He's a doctor that's studying longevity. He works with people to help them extend their health span. And one of the things he says is he challenges people to work on their grip strength. There's a direct correlation between grip strength and longevity. The stronger your grip, the longer you live. That's what the research says. So he tells people that you should be able to dead hang. You can see a picture of me right there, dead hanging from a bar. Ladies, we need to be able to hold on to that bar for 90 seconds. My gentlemen, 2 minutes. So that's everybody's homework. That's your training piece. We want to find a bar, go to a playground, go to the gym, buy one of those bars for the doorway in your house, grab onto it and see, maybe you can only hang on for 3 seconds. That's okay. Set yourself a goal. We're going to work on it every day. Put a doorway pull-up bar in there. And every time you walk through that doorway, you got to hold on to it for a few seconds. You're getting shoulder mobility through that and you're working on that grip strength. Another test for you. Can you sit down on the ground? And can you stand up without having to lean on a chair, having to get a friend to pull you up? That's another thing that they say is indicative of longevity. So another thing that we can train for, make sure if you're able to do it now, practice it. We're getting down on the floor a few times a week and we're getting back up because it doesn't just happen overnight that one day you're totally fine getting up off the floor and the next day you can't unless you have obviously some kind of accident. So we just make sure that we're moving our body, and we're going to talk about physical activity in a few slides, and then having purpose. You have to have a reason for wanting to be here. That is such a huge role in all this. We're going to talk about the blue zones, and one of the things that they have in common is this idea of having a purpose, an ikigai, that's what they call it in Japan, just having a reason to live. Okay, everybody agree with those? Anybody have anything else that they would define healthy as? Mental health, I think, is a huge picture as well. How do we feel about ourselves? How do we feel going through life? But if you have these other things all figured out, the mental health piece typically comes along with that. All right, let's dive into the nutrition piece. We are going to spend a good bit of today on eating for the aging and how do we support longevity through our nutrition. The first thing we're going to talk about, and the most important piece for aging, is getting enough protein. Americans are getting about half of the amount of protein that they should be getting each day. So I want everybody to get your phone, get a calculator, and we're going to do a little bit of math together. How much protein should you be eating every day? Get your calculator out, type in your current weight. Okay, maybe you weigh 200 pounds. Divide it by 0.8. Okay. That's the low end of the amount of protein you should be eating every day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, on the low end, you should be getting 160 grams of protein every day. On the high end, we're getting 1 gram per pound of body weight. So between 160 and 200 grams of protein every day. Most Americans, again, are getting roughly half that. Protein is so important in making sure you hang on to that muscle mass for living a long time. Bone density, this is a big one. Think about, maybe you have friends, maybe it's happened to you, you fall, you break your hip. That's a really difficult recovery as we age if we're not doing these other things correctly. And so having that bone density to keep us strong, to keep us from falls, to keep us from breaking things if we do fall. Hormone health is a big piece of this. Immune health, metabolic health, so feeling full and maintaining a healthy weight. Protein is really good at helping you feel full, feel satiated. Or maybe you're someone that just feels like I could eat all day long. I'm constantly hungry. You're probably eating too many carbs and too many processed foods. I'll remind you, those processed foods, they are designed to be addictive. They're designed to make sure that the signal that's supposed to go from your stomach to your brain to say, I'm full, they're designed so that signal doesn't get to the brain. Protein from eggs and meat and beans and seeds, that signal is clear as day from your stomach to your brain. It's very difficult to overeat protein. All right, so what are sources of healthy protein? Obviously, the things that come to mind first, the grass-fed beef, pasture-raised eggs, pasture-raised chicken, wild-caught fish, turkey, raw nuts, avocado, lentils, yogurt, beans, chia seeds, full-fat cheese, all good sources of healthy protein. And if it's hard for you to get to that 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight with just those foods, we live in a time now where we've got protein bars, we've got protein shakes, we've got protein powder, some easy protein-filled snacks that we can help get us to that number that we need. Here are some of my favorite. This is probably the number one question I get. What's a healthy protein powder or healthy protein drink you recommend? Earth-fed Muscle, they have a whey-based or a plant-based. So if you don't tolerate dairy well, go for the plant-based. If you tolerate dairy, fine. Whey-based is great. You can order that online. If you want a bone broth based protein, the Ancient Nutrition is a great brand to look for. Again, that's something online. I do believe they have that one at Whole Foods. Orgain, they have a powder and they have the pre-made drinks. You can find both of those at some of the bigger, more popular grocery stores, Sam's, Costco, Target, Walmart, maybe. If you're currently drinking the Premier protein shakes, finish up what you got and then never buy them again. We're going to switch to Orgain. Okay, everybody's nodding their head. Yes. Or OWYN, that's another good brand of protein shake, or Evolve. Okay, all three of those are the pre-made, come in a box, 20 grams of protein. Really great way to help get you to that protein recommendation daily. The Chomps beef jerky sticks. This is just a great snack. It's healthy fat, healthy protein. They do a great job with grass-fed beef. They also have pasture-raised turkey. I eat one every single day. There's no carbs in it, and it's a really great source of calories. They're pretty high in calories, so they help bridge the gap between meals without the blood sugar roller coaster ride. So they help keep you full, and it's not too much food. Okay. Protein bars. Protein bars are either similar to a Snickers or they can actually provide you with some nutrients. We have to be very careful which way we're going to go with our protein bar choice. I've put this presentation is a lot about brand awareness. I think it's really helpful to be able to see the label so that when we go to the grocery store, say, oh, I recognize that, or get your phone out, take pictures of these slides. Of course, I'll share the slides with you guys afterwards so you guys can come back and have additional brand awareness within the presentation. But if you want to take pictures with your phone, I really encourage you to do that. The Aloha bars, that's a plant-based protein bar, very minimal sugar, doesn't have any of the fake sugars in it. That's one of the things we're looking for in these protein bars. The traditional Clif bars have between 16 and 19 grams of added sugar in them. I really encourage you to stay away from those, but the nut butter Clif bars are a much better option. They're whey protein, or that one actually is a plant protein, so it's not soy either, even though that is a plant protein. It's not a soy-based protein, and it has lower sugar than the traditional Clif bar. The RX bar, it's a really great one. It's a date-based bar. And then the IQ bars, those are becoming very popular these days. They have those at some of the bigger box grocery stores. another great option for you. So if you're gonna do a protein bar, I would encourage you to stick with one of those. If you have a question about the protein bar you're currently eating, please just throw it in the chat. I'm happy to answer that. Another great source of protein is yogurt, Greek yogurt. Full fat if you can. This Oikos 000, they took all the fat out, which I don't love, but it does have 15 grams of protein in it. So an easy way to work towards that, again, 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. It's hard to know how much protein you're consuming when you eat a kava bowl of chicken and beans and lentils. I totally understand that. Obviously, you can go on their website. They'll give you some generic recommendations of about how much protein you're consuming. I can send you guys a little guide of, a palm of chicken is this many grams of protein, a palm serving of red meat is this many grams of protein. If you want to get really serious about it, you can get a food scale. I don't even do that. I think that's over the top. I don't have time for that. I got 2 little kids. You guys know that. So just working, even if you're not tracking, just working to include more of these foods that are higher in protein in your daily life is going to help you live a longer life. Okay.
Hey, Michelle,
Yeah.
we have a question about protein shakes.
Mhm.
And the question is Fairlife protein shakes.
Great question. Thank you for asking. I would really encourage you to finish up your Fairlife protein shakes and then switch to something like Orgain or that OWYN brand or the Evolve. Okay. I don't know if you guys
Do you have
seen-
do you have a reason for that?
I do have a few reasons. One, dairy is very inflammatory, especially from the Fairlife cows. I don't know if you guys saw that leaked footage from the way that they treat their cows. Their cows are very poorly treated. So if you think about, I talked about this before, but you are what you eat eats. Okay, so we know you are what you eat. But if what you're eating has lived a very poor life, not filled with nutrients, it didn't have a nutrient dense diet, it was not able to exercise, it didn't see the sunlight, that meat you can imagine, or the dairy that comes from that animal, is very nutrient depleted. Okay, so Fairlife as a brand does not treat their cows very well. So the milk that comes from them is actually more nutrient depleted and worse for you than a cow that's had a pasture raised life, that was allowed to go out in the sun, allowed to have its natural diet, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And I'm happy to share the leaked footage that came from Fairlife. You'll never want to buy any sort of Fairlife product ever again once you see it. But also, dairy in general, especially in the form of milk for most of us, actually is not only inflammatory, but spikes our insulin and our blood glucose. So the amount of sugar, it breaks down like sugar in the body. So if we're going to go with a pre-made protein shake, I wouldn't do a milk-based one. I would do a plant-based one, or one that's water with whey protein in it, like a good quality, like earth-fed muscle whey protein in it. So that way we don't have that big spike in our blood sugar. We're not getting the inflammatory response that's creating the elevated CRP and linked to 80% of disease. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let's keep going. Nutrition part 2, healthy fat is absolutely crucial for overall health as we age. Some things that it assists with. Number 1, longevity. That's the whole premise of the presentation. How do we live a long life, free from disease, free from maintenance medications, free from all the hospital trips? Healthy fat is one of the important things that we can be doing. It really helps with mental acuity. The brain loves healthy fat. If you ask anybody that's on a ketogenic diet, one of the things that they will tell you is that their brain is so clear. They're sharp. They can find words like they never have before. There's just none of the brain fog, and that comes from all these healthy fats fueling the brain. There's a lot of research with Dr. Bredesen's work. Dale Bredesen, he's working in Alzheimer's prevention and in some cases reversal if you catch it early. And one of the things that's a component of the Bredesen protocol is the ketogenic or a really high fat diet. And that's because what it does to support the brain. Okay? It protects it from cognitive degeneration. So if you have any sort of cognitive degenerative disease in your family, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, just generic cognitive decline, degeneration, I would really recommend you focusing on healthy fats in your diet, limiting the sugar and increasing the healthy fats. It helps lower LDL and raises protective HDL. So completely backwards from everything we were promoting for 30 years. We said that fat made you fat, it raised your cholesterol. We got that all wrong. If you are eating, like depicted here, healthy sources of fat, it actually helps lower your bad cholesterol and helps increase your good cholesterol. Good cholesterol is also very heavily influenced by how much exercise you do. So if your doctor told you your HDL is low, you got to get out there, got to get moving. Okay. Also,
Michelle,
yeah,
got a chomps and some nuts.
right
20,
here.
right?
Nice. Go, David. He's getting brownie points. It helps reduce inflammation in the joints. So if you struggle with wrist pain, elbow pain, knee pain, neck pain, back pain, healthy fat can actually help reduce the inflammation that you're feeling within those joints. It helps you absorb certain vitamins, which are important for vision, bone health, immune function, sustained energy. So long-lasting energy versus energy in spurts. If we're eating a diet high in carbohydrates and we're missing the healthy fat piece, you're going to have energy real quick, and then you're going to have a big crash. And then maybe you're going to have a snack and you'll have energy, and then you have that crash. Versus if you're having healthy fats with each meal throughout the day, and maybe you're doing a chomp stick and nuts for snack, then you're going to have more sustained energy and you're not going to have that like 2:30 slump feeling. All right. And then for all my ladies and my gentlemen on the call, more moisture and elasticity in your skin. So it helps you look younger. So we love that. Okay. Healthy fat, really important. What are healthy fats versus unhealthy fats? All the healthy fats. This is where you get your phone out and you take a picture of this. Okay, so healthy fats, some of them cross over with those healthy protein sources. Eggs, beef, chicken thighs, avocado, guacamole, nuts, chia seeds, pecans, almonds, olives. We should be reaching for a couple of these on this list every day. In my lunchbox, I've got walnuts. I just had a chomp stick before this call. I had 4 eggs for breakfast. I try and eat healthy fat all throughout the day for my lunch. What do I have? I have sausage with my lunch. That's a fatty cut of meat. And then I'll have an apple with peanut butter before I go to the gym. And then tonight we always do some kind of healthy fat with dinner. So trying to get healthy fats almost, for me, almost at every meal and even at snack. It's very rare I'll eat something that is all carbs. So I'm not normally going to sit down and just eat a piece of bread. I'm not going to sit down and just eat an apple. I would eat an apple with peanut butter, trying to get that healthy fat in any place that I can, or maybe an apple and a handful of nuts. Okay. The unhealthy fats, these are in our processed foods. Okay, so just one more reason why we need to limit our processed food intake, but it's soybean oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, peanut oil. All right, those are raising that CRP, that HSCRP, that's contributing to inflammation within the body. It's driving up our bad cholesterol. It's driving up the inflammation. It's driving up our triglycerides. We need to do our best to minimize our exposure to those unhealthy fats. Okay, you're going to find it in the Land O'Lakes. I might even say olive oil butter, but it's made predominantly with soybean oil or canola oil, and then it maybe has a little bit of olive oil in it. It's like a fake butter alternative instead of, I can't believe it's not butter. They just swap the oils for another unhealthy oil. Just buy the real Kerrygold grass-fed butter. When you're buying nuts that are salted, they typically use one of these inflammatory oils to get the salt to stick. So buy raw, unsalted nuts. A traditional mayonnaise, or what's the other one? Miracle Whip. Those are made with soybean oil and canola oil. Brands to look for, the Primal Kitchen brand or the Chosen Foods. Both of those are made with avocado oil. Okay, ranch dressing, primary ingredient, soybean oil and canola oil. Swap it for the Primal Kitchen ranch dressing made with avocado oil. If you use Pam to spray the pan before you cook your eggs or whatever in the pan, swap it for an avocado oil spray. If you're using Crisco to bake, swap it. A 1-for-1 substitute is that avocado oil. Okay.
Michelle, quick
Yeah.
question. Somebody
yeah.
asked for the butter. What about instead of the Kerry's, or what about ghee butter? How does-
Yes, ghee is fine. So ghee, for those of you who don't know, it's clarified butter. So it's butter without the milk protein. So if you don't tolerate dairy well, ghee is a great option. It's a butter alternative. It really is butter, just the milk protein has been removed. Ghee is great. Okay. So the theme here is that we're swapping the soybean, canola, vegetable, corn oil, peanut oil for avocado oil, butter, ghee. Coconut oil is another one that's not up here, but is a great option. And then olive oil, I'm not gonna leave that out, but olive oil at room temperature. Okay, so olive oil has a really low smoke point, which means as you heat it, it's gonna lose its nutrient density. If you wanna make a salad dressing, if you wanna dip your food in oil, olive oil is great all day long, but we're just not gonna heat it. We're gonna use avocado oil, coconut oil, butter, if we're gonna heat anything. Okay, those have a higher smoke point, so they don't lose their nutrient density as you heat them. A few other things you can add to your snack repertoire for healthy fats. We've got the nut butter packs. The Justin's makes good ones, and then the RX nut butter packs. Nellie's egg bites. Maybe you're looking for a quick and easy breakfast option. You want to just throw something in the microwave for a couple seconds. The Nellie's egg bites are good to go. The Chomp Suey jerky stick, and then full fat Greek yogurt. If you wanted to add some of the Purely Elizabeth granola to that, to help. I know some people really don't love the plain Greek yogurt. If you want to add some flavor to it and make it not so bitter, that's a great option for you too. That granola I love because it's made with coconut oil, so a healthy fat, and it's got some protein from chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, sometimes depending on the flavor. It's not just all carbs. It's healthy fat, healthy protein with some carbs, okay? Nutrition part 3, the overconsumption of sugar, which most Americans are unfortunately doing and we don't even realize it, is linked to obesity, arthritis, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, high triglycerides, a decrease in lifespan, candida, which is an overgrowth of a candida bacteria in the gut, and chronic inflammation. The average American is consuming 90 grams of added sugar every day, when we should really be consuming less than 25. Okay, the goal is less than 25 grams of added sugar each day. So when I give the Power of the Fork presentation, I give the people that I'm giving it to one piece of homework, and it's to start paying attention to how many grams of added sugar you're consuming. So I'm going to give you guys that homework as well. 1, we're going to be increasing our protein intake, and 2, we're going to be decreasing our sugar intake. That is the key to life right there. That's the key to longevity. Those 2 things: increase your protein, decrease your sugar, and 100 here you come. All right, so start flipping over the whatever it is that you're eating and looking at that line that says includes blank grams of added sugar. And maybe it's 10 grams in one serving. So you're going to write down 10. And over the course of the day, I want you to just add it up. Don't change anything yet. Just do an experiment. How much sugar are you getting? It's in everything. It's in ketchup. It's in barbecue sauce. It's in the tuna packets that are why do we need sugar in tuna packets? It's in coleslaw. It's in potato salad. It's in a quinoa salad I bought from Sam's Costco 2 weeks ago and was wondering how in the world it got in there. Okay. It's in everything and you can have it, but at a certain point, the overconsumption becomes linked to obesity, arthritis, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, high triglycerides, decrease in lifespan, candida, chronic inflammation, just to name a few. Okay, diabetes should be on there too. So trying to stay underneath 25 grams of added sugar. 1 can of Coke is 39 grams of sugar, just for reference. So it adds up really quickly. Here's some swaps for you where we're finding lots of sugar, where you can swap brands and then drastically decrease the amount of sugar that you're consuming in your diet. Jif peanut butter, that's got about 9 ingredients in it, including those inflammatory, unhealthy fats, and it's got molasses and sugar in it. The Crazy Richards 100% peanuts is literally just peanuts. That's the only ingredient in it. So you're decreasing your sugar consumption right there. Traditional cereal, Raisin Bran, whatever it is, most traditional cereals are packed full of sugar and preservatives. Thankfully, in 2024, food companies are realizing that there is a market for people that want better. They want less sugar, they want less preservatives, they want less dyes in their foods. So 3 Wishes came to the table. Who else? Catalina Crunch. I love Purely Elizabeth. Those are some of my favorites that don't have the added sugar, don't have the preservatives or the dyes. Okay, so 3 Wishes, Catalina Crunch, Purely Elizabeth, Ezekiel, like Ezekiel bread, down below right here, they make a cereal. RX, like the RX bars, they make a cereal as well. All of those are a great option when it comes if you're a cereal person in the morning. Breyer's ice cream or any ice cream, try the Halo Top. They make a dairy-free and a traditional dairy ice cream, much lower in sugar. Traditional bread, even though if you look at the nutrition facts, it's not going to have a ton of added sugar in it. It breaks down like sugar in the body. It's going to create that big blood sugar spike and the big crash. And that's what sets us towards a path of diabetes that starts to take time off our life. Ezekiel bread is going to break down more slowly and not create that big spike in your blood sugar. Chips Ahoy, if you're Chips Ahoy folks, try the Enjoy Life cookies, much lower in sugar. They don't have traditional flour. They're made with, I believe, almond flour and arrowroot flour or tapioca flour. Hey, there's now a whole line of candy, 2 whole lines of candy. One is called Unreal and the other is called Smart Sweets. So if you're a candy person, if you have a little dish of candy that sits on the counter in your house, maybe some of you financial advisors have a little dish of candy for your clients, swap it, Unreal Candy or Smart Sweets, lower in sugar, doesn't have the dyes, the artificial dyes, the colorings that we're figuring out are pretty negative, create some negative side effects to our health. So try and swap those traditional candies for those brands again, Unreal Candy and Smart Sweets. Yogurt. Yogurt's a tricky one. Some of them are fantastic, great sources of healthy fat, great sources of protein. Others are basically eating ice cream with the amount of sugar it has in it. The Dannon Light and Fit, it's a great example of a nice, delicious ice cream. Okay, if you want to have it for dessert, but it's packed full of sugar, and a lot of them are. So with your yogurt, I want you to check it. Look at that line that says includes blank grams of added sugar. Look how much added sugar is in your yogurt. If it's 0, great. If it's not, the Oikos 000, which you saw on a previous slide, the Chobani 0 sugar added but flavored with fruit, that's a great option for you. The just plain Jane full fat yogurt that doesn't taste awesome, that's a great option for you. And then you can add a little bit of honey if you want it, and you can add that granola to make it more palatable. For my juice drinkers, do your best to start cutting back on juice. Okay, orange juice, apple juice, grape juice, the juice that you buy at the grocery store, unless it's cold pressed juice that's in a single serving, it is basically like drinking a soda. It is full of sugar. Okay, it's going to react in the body just like a Coke, spikes that blood sugar, it's leading you towards diabetes. We do not want that. So minimize. If you want to have a mimosa every once in a while, if you want to have a glass of juice once a week, fine. But if we're starting our day every day with a big glass of orange juice or apple juice, that is a big old sugar bomb. We're creating that big spike in our blood sugar followed by a big crash and that 230 feeling. I love the Zevia brand of everything. They make energy drinks, they make soda, they make these teas. They are all sweetened with stevia, so they're not going to have that big impact on your blood sugar. I really recommend that as a healthy swap. Let's keep going.
Hey,
Okay.
Michelle, can
Yeah.
we, since we're talking about snacks, there's a couple that came up in the Q&A.
Go ahead.
How do you rate Kind brand nut bars?
Okay, there's lots of different kinds of Kind bars. The kind that I approve, not that it's up to me to approve it, but the kind that I would recommend, let's go with that, are the long skinny kind. They're like the rectangular, not the more boxy ones, but the long skinny kind that say 5 grams of sugar. And so the lower sugar ones that are the long skinny kind, the more like nuts all glued together, maybe with some dark chocolate on the bottom, those are better than the more like square breakfast kind bars. Those are basically a carb bomb with some sugar.
Got it.
Yep.
Dave's Killer Bread.
Okay, depending on where you are in your wellness journey, if you are trying to lose weight, if you're trying to reverse your diabetes, if you've been told that your blood sugar's high, Dave's Killer Bread is not for you. If you are not doing any of those things, you're just maintaining a healthy weight, your blood sugar's fine, all the rest of your labs look fine, Dave's Killer Bread in moderation is a fine choice.
Okay. And the last one here is, doesn't a lot of the no sugar added Chobani have artificial sweeteners in it?
Some of it does. That's a great point. Thank you. So the artificial sweeteners sucralose is making its way into some of the no sugar added yogurts. The Oikos 000 for sure is stevia. Some of the Chobani is using stevia. You have to be careful. Look at the ingredient list and you want to look for that word sucralose. That's the sciencey word for Splenda. Okay, sucralose is toxic to the gut, toxic to the brain. We want to do our best to minimize our exposure. It's in protein bars, it's in protein shakes, it's in protein powders if we're not paying attention. Okay, it's typically the last ingredient because it's so sweet. The food companies only need a tiny bit to make it sweet, but that doesn't make it any less toxic. Okay, so looking for that word sucralose. Stevia and monk fruit are fine. Those are natural sources of sweeteners that don't impact the blood sugar, but sucralose, that's not great. And then what we're figuring out too is that xylitol and erythritol, those are those sugar alcohols. The jury was out on those. Well, the jury's in, and they're finding that those are contributing to plaque buildup in the arteries. Okay, they're clogging the arteries. So we want to do our best to minimize xylitol, erythritol. Okay.
And then two quick others.
Yeah.
Instead of the Dave's bread, if somebody is pre-diabetic or just has other
Mhm.
issues, Ezekiel bread, is that always?
Yes. Yeah, so that's depicted right down here. That's a better
That's-
option. If you do have a high blood sugar, I would try and minimize all bread. Ezekiel bread is gonna be your best option if you're gonna have a sandwich every once in a while or a piece of toast, but just don't make it an every day, 3 times a day ordeal.
And then
Okay.
for, this one's for me, for cookies, I haven't heard of the Good Life one, but there's the Siete brand cookies that also have like
Mhm.
cassava and coconut flour and stuff, but they
Mhm.
still have sugar, some added sugar. Are those okay? Just moderation?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I love the Siete brand, like 7 in Spanish. They're a family of 7, so they name their everything Siete is great. They do a good job with their oils. They're very clean with the products. They do have Mexican wedding cookies, which are to die for, but they do have a little bit of sugar. So those in moderation would be a fine alternative to Chips Ahoy or another cookie. Yep.
Michelle, one more. What about milk in general?
Mm. I really don't recommend drinking milk. The cows that we have in our country really are not treated well again. And so the milk, all the milk is pasteurized, which means all the bacteria, good and the bad, are taken from the milk. If you want to buy unpasteurized milk, not for human consumption at your local farmer's market and have that, I think that's a better option for you. I also think it's very person specific, but in general, what we're seeing is that roughly 70% of us can't tolerate dairy the way that we are making dairy these days. So it creates some sort of inflammation, whether that be gut issues, so gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux, or it's showing up in the form of skin issues, eczema, psoriasis, keratosis pilaris, cradle cap, even then joint pain. Dairy is just really inflammatory, and milk is like pretty much the worst of it. I would say minimize your milk. I know I'm like
Do you like
telling
the almond milk?
everybody. Almond milk's a good alternative. Unsweetened
Yeah.
almond milk, unsweetened oat milk, um, cashew milk,
Okay,
all good alternatives.
thank you.
Yep. Okay, let's keep going. So we're gonna shift gears. I can take all the questions from nutrition at the end, and because I'm sure there's gonna be some more. Now we're gonna switch gears and go into some other things that are gonna help add time to your life. Physical activity being maybe even more important than the nutrition piece. We have to stay moving. So with the goal of longevity in mind, you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, you're not trying to train for a marathon. These are 3 things where we need to focus when it comes to physical activity. The first being strength training. A lot of times we might be good at, I'm going for a walk with my friends. I do that every day. I do a 30-minute walk every day. We've got to add some strength training in there. Your body naturally, unless you fight it, is going to lose muscle year over year over year. Okay, so we have to be sure, or maybe it's doing a strength class at the gym. Maybe you're going to get a trainer. Maybe you're going to dust off those weights at home. My degree from Chapel Hill is in exercise and sports science. So maybe you have 5-pound dumbbells at home and you have no idea what to do with them. Please email me and say, hey, I want a full body strength routine I can do twice a week with my 5-pound dumbbells. I would love to do that for you. Okay, but strength training in any form, and even if you don't have any weights, maybe it's just body weight. It doesn't have to be CrossFit. It doesn't have to be big barbell lifting heavy weights, but we have to focus on strengthening the muscles, and it doesn't necessarily have to be under tension of some sort of additional weight. Our body weight is enough as long as we're doing the right things. So what's recommended by, again, Peter Attia, that guy that's studying longevity, he's got that clinic helping people live longer, resistance training 2 to 3 times a week. Okay, 2 to 3 times a week, we're doing that resistance training. It could be just 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour. 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week is enough. Cardiovascular training to help with the heart, okay, help with blood flow, obviously help with longevity, 150 minutes a week. This can be spread out in 10-minute increments. I don't recommend doing 150 minutes at once and then the rest of the week sitting on your booty. Try and spread it out a little bit, but it doesn't have to be an hour at a time. And it doesn't have to be walking. It could be swimming. It could be biking, rowing, get on the elliptical. You could maybe turn it into a game and get it in the form of pickleball or tennis. Tai Chi, people love those. You can go do yoga. That would be considered cardiovascular training and flexibility and stability. Okay, to prevent falls and maintain independence, flexibility and stability are key. And I would say that stability and strength training, those kind of cross over a bit. All right, that helps you stay sturdy on your feet, helps you be able to tackle stairs easily, helps you from tripping on your feet, tripping on a curb. Okay, and then the mobility piece is really important for longevity and then being able to do those activities of daily living, being able to put your shoes on, being able to clean the floor, being able to get down on the floor and play with your grandkids and get back up. So Pilates, yoga, balance training. So just standing on one foot, walking up and down the stairs, doing a heel toe walk. So what that means is that basically it's like a sobriety test. You get pulled over by the cop and the cop wants you to walk on the white line on the side of the road. And instead of just walking on the white line with your steps being, call it, a foot or so apart, you take your right foot and then directly your left foot would come and your heel touches your toe and you're walking exactly in a straight line, heel to toe. So that actually helps with balance training. Another thing we can do is if you have a stair in your home or maybe on your front porch, hold on to the railing, but you're going to stand sideways on the stairs and with one foot on one stair and the other foot kind of just in limbo, you're going to bend the foot that's standing on a stair and tap the heel that's free floating on the stair below and stand back up. So it's kind of a heel tap. One foot up, one foot down, tap that heel, and that's going to strengthen the hip, that's going to strengthen the glute, and then turn the other way, sideways. You've got maybe your left foot on the stair, your right foot's free floating over the stair below it. And you're going to reach down, tap that right heel by bending the left leg, tap that right heel and come back up. I'm doing a terrible job at explaining that. If you guys want a video of that, I'm happy to send it to you. Same with the heel toe walk. Maybe as a follow-up to this, I will put a couple videos of some of these stability exercises that you guys can do, incorporate them into your daily routine, into your weekly routine, just to work on balance, because that is a big piece of the longevity puzzle. Okay. We need to think about our immune system. As we age, our immune health undergoes significant changes, which decrease basically the health of our immune system, which opens us up to infections and chronic disease. So we have to think about our immune system. We have to think about how do we support our immune system. Couple things that happen: immunosenescence, that's the natural decline in the immune system function because our B cells and our T cells, which are the cells that go to battle for us when we come into contact with something that's trying to invade our body, some sort of virus, they actually decrease. Okay, so that's just part of the aging process. So we want to find ways that we can help with the most graceful way we can keep those cells and from decreasing as we age. So if we don't do anything proactive, they're naturally going to decline. People over 65 account for 50% of hospitalizations from the flu because of this, because your B cells and T cells start to decline. So unless we're doing something proactive, that's just what's going to naturally happen. Your risk of autoimmune disease actually goes up. Okay, so the body, if you're unfamiliar with what that means, autoimmune disease, auto meaning self, immune is your immune system. So what happens is that the body starts attacking itself. Your own immune system starts attacking itself, autoimmune. And that's because your body starts to it starts to lose the ability, to differentiate between what is you and what is foreign. Okay. This happens when we have leaky gut. We've talked about that in a previous presentation. When you've got little holes in your small intestine, then you've got partially digested food that leaks out into the bloodstream, and your body recognizes that as a foreign invader and starts attacking itself. Okay, so if we struggle with any sort of autoimmune disease, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about your gut health and some other things, and we can work to optimize your immune system so your body's not attacking itself. And then chronic inflammation. As we age, there's an increase in cytokines, which are basically pro-inflammatory cells that lead to tissue damage and a decreased immune system. So if you've heard the term inflammaging, that's what this is referring to. I think Mark Hyman maybe coined that. But it's just a natural body process. And if we're aware of it, then we can start to think about it and we can start to do something about it. So here's some things we can do. One, we can take a probiotic. I mentioned that your gut health is directly linked to your immune system. So if you have those holes in your small intestine, you've got that partially digested food leaking out, your body's attacking itself, that's creating inflammation in the whole body. So to create a healthy gut, we need probiotics. We can eat it in the form of yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, any sort of fermented food. Or you can take a supplement that's a probiotic, and I've got lots that I recommend for you. The Thorne brand, Metagenics, Pure Encapsulations, Sporebiotic, they all make a great probiotic. And one thing to know about your probiotic is that the goal of taking a probiotic is to diversify the microbiome. You want lots of different types of bacteria in the microbiome. So if you're taking the same probiotic year after year after year, you're giving your body the same bacteria year after year after year. You want to diversify even your probiotic. So a probiotic that you buy is typically a 3-month supply. At the end of that 3 months, switch probiotics. Okay, and maybe every quarter you're taking a different probiotic and you're on that rotation every year. If you need, again, recommendations, please reach out to me. Sleep's a huge component of optimizing our immune health. We should be sleeping between 7 and 9 hours every night, and the goal would be for those to be the same 7 to 9 hours every night. And we're not going to bed at 9 one night and midnight the next night. Okay, we're trying to go to bed around the same time and then wake up around the same time every night, as close to the sun as we can. That also optimizes our immune health. Stress is one of the biggest depleters of our immune system. Okay, those B cells and T cells deplete the more stressed that we are. Okay, so we have to find ways to manage our stress. And you might be able to recognize there was a stressful period in your life. Maybe you lost a loved one, maybe you went through a divorce, maybe you were in a move, maybe you were changing jobs, maybe your job was really stressful and you notice a correlation between that stressful period and being sick more often. That's because your immune system was really struggling with all the stress that your body was under. So we need yoga, we need meditation, we need breath work, the practice of 3 good things. I mentioned that in my presentation that's on stress management, stress and anxiety. 3 good things as a reminder. You get a white expo marker, and at the end of every day, you're going to write down 3 good things that happened to you that day. So what that does is that makes your brain, you try and retrain your lens with which you see the world. We live in kind of a negative world. Social media is negative. Our friends tend to be negative. Maybe our work environment's negative. The news is negative. And so we see everything as a glass half empty situation, and we want to retrain our brain to see things as glass half full. We're more positive, we're less depressed, we're less anxious, helps us manage our stress. So 3 good things that happen to you at the end of the day, write them on your mirror. You're retraining your brain, you're committing them to memory, and then when you wake up in the morning, it's the first thing you see in the morning. That's another great way to help manage your stress and depression, anxiety. And then supplement support. Okay, so there's incredible supplements to help support your immune system: vitamin D, vitamin C, quercetin, and zinc. Quercetin you might not have heard of. It's an ionophore. It helps zinc be absorbed by the cells. It's hard for your body to absorb zinc without that quercetin. Those go hand in hand. And again, I've got great supplement brand recommendations if you need it. I'm running out of time here. Regular health checkups. If you do not have a relationship with a primary care doctor, after this call, you're going to get one. Okay, here's some statistics for you. Regular health checkups, you have a 14% lower risk of death. Regular health checkups reduce mortality from heart disease by up to 25%. Heart disease, remember, that's the #1 killer in our country. Early detection of breast cancer through regular mammograms can lead to a 5-year survival rate of over 90%. That's powerful. And then proper management of diabetes and blood pressure through regular checkups helps lower your risk of complications by more than 50%. So if you don't have a regular physician, you should be going to one, depending on your age, somewhere between 1 to 2 times a year. You're getting those labs, you're seeing what your cholesterol is, you're getting your blood pressure checked, and we're making sure that we're trending in the right direction. Don't bury your head in the sand. Maybe you're scared to go because you feel like it's going to be a bad result. I want to be there for you. Maybe a lot of times doctors just give you your results and there's no explanation. I would love to help you read those results and then make some lifestyle adjustments to help improve them so that we're on this path towards longevity. Lastly, what's your purpose? Why are you here? What is your passion for life? If you watch the documentary on the blue zones, for those that don't know what the blue zones are, there are 5 areas around the world with the highest concentration of centenarians. Those are people who live to be over 100. And they vary by location, they vary by ethnicity, they vary by country. There's lots of things that keep them, or that you wonder, what do they have in common? There's a few things they have in common. One, they eat predominantly whole foods, not processed foods. They're very active. They do low-level physical activity all throughout the day, and they all seem to have some sort of purpose. They have a why. Why are you here? Are you giving back to your community? Do you have kids and grandkids you're pouring into? Do you want to be in politics or policy reform? Are you passionate about that? Do you have a business that you're running? They have some sort of purpose. In Japan, again, they call it ikigai. But these are just a few pictures of myself and my babies and my family. You can see this is my mom and these are her parents back here. That's my grandmother. She's 93. That's my grandfather. He's 91. This is my son, Oakley. He's 2.5. There's his great grandmother, so her name is Shirley Oaks Stump. And again, she is 93 years old. She still plays tennis. She bowls every Friday for 4 hours. And his name is Oakley, loosely named after his great grandma of Shirley Oaks Stump. She is just an incredible woman. And she will tell you that having a purpose and moving her body has kept her so able, so with it, so sharp. This is my daughter, Remy. This is my why right here. This is why I do everything for them. This is her. That's my dad. His grandpa name is Cappy. He was a pilot for American and just retired 2 weeks ago. That's his grandpa name of Cappy. But I am so blessed to have so much family around that pours into my kids. But I can certainly tell you that part of my parents and my grandparents' why is family and my babies, which I am so blessed for. But I want to ask you, what's your purpose? Why are you here? Why do you want to stay here? And I hope that you have some cute old kids or grandbabies maybe. And if not, maybe it's pseudo grandbabies or pseudo kids, or maybe it's something you're really passionate about. Maybe you're here to change the world in some incredible way, and that's amazing too. Lastly, I'm gonna end with this and we're gonna do more questions. Here's what's possible if you follow these steps. I mentioned I had a 91-year-old grandfather. This is him on the 4th of July. He was determined he was gonna go swimming. So there's no stopping that man. When you hear him say he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it. So instead of trying to pin him to the chair, we got the rescue team in the water in case something happened. We've got my pseudo brother Beck on the diving board with him. There's my son Oakley watching his great grandfather. And I want you guys to watch what my 91-year-old grandfather accomplishes, because he's taking care of his body and done these, let's call them simple steps. Look at that. 91, he just dove off the diving board. You have no idea what that does to me. Every time I watch that video, he swims back to the ladder. It is certainly a chore to get him out of the lake. I can't deny that. That was tough, and he needed some additional help to get out of the lake. But he swims all the way to the ladder by himself after that awesome dive off the diving board. That's it. All right, that's my number. That's my email address. That's our website. You guys call me, text me, email me with your personal wellness questions. I do want to open it up to questions. So David or whoever, please feel free to scan those questions and shout them out. I'm going to leave this slide up there for just a minute so you guys can make sure you have my contact information.
Well, Michelle, we'll give your grandfather a 10 on that dive. That was pretty good.
Right?
You know, that looked pretty good. So
I think so too.
yeah, that's pretty impressive at 91, jumping off a diving board into the
91.
lake. So yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I definitely agree. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Looking at a few questions. What about Celsius energy drinks?
No. They have that artificial sweetener sucralose in them. So
Yeah.
they were for a very brief time. They were making some with stevia. You might be able to still find them on Amazon, but they're not making them anymore. So I would do the Zevia Energy or Rowdy Energy. Those are made with stevia. Any energy drink that has stevia versus sucralose. Just check the ingredient list.
Got it. Bullet coffee with MCT oil and ghee butter each morning.
Yes, absolutely. I love that, especially as we age.
Good brand of cauliflower pizza crust. I was wondering this the other day, like how do you make
Yeah.
healthy pizza? I know you can do like Rayo's, probably like sauce,
Uh-huh.
no sugar, and like
Yep.
sausage and all this turkey sauce, whatever on top. What do you
Yeah.
do for the base?
For the base, I have a recipe where you can make it out of tapioca flour, or Trader Joe's has a pretty good cauliflower crust that doesn't have too much junk in it. That's the only one that I know of that's not too messy
Yeah.
as far as ingredients go.
Awesome. And think that was it. Any others?
Hey, Michelle, this is Chris Doty here. I'm not on camera, but I've been listening the whole time. Just, hey, thank you so much for what you've done here, what you do here. It's really super important to say it's not just about, wealth. It's about living life. It's about feeling well now as we can. And I'd say a lot of what you talk about is really, really super helpful, even if not just reinforcing some things that are just so important for us to pay attention to, because there are so many things that hit us that we, quote, need to do. It's hard to focus on any single one of them. So we appreciate your checklist. We appreciate the items you send over. If you just even did a checklist of this, don't do that. Those are great slides. That is super helpful. I just want to give you my gratitude and thank you tremendously for dedicating your life to us being healthier.
Thank you, Chris. That means a lot.
Mhm.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'd like to second that and thank you on behalf of all of us here in
You're
Global
welcome.
Falls and the surrounding area for being able to, have you here today was just, great. Just great information.
Oh, you
And I'm
guys-
sure I was picked to be the speaker because of the eating and the aging. I think Tim was by design a little bit. So I could use all this. This is great.
Aw. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. This is so special. I get to share this information with anybody who will listen to me. So thanks for listening.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, we'll have a replay of the webinar that we can send out to you, and certainly reach out to your advisor if you want to be plugged in with Michelle on a one-on-one basis, that sort of thing, and we'll help facilitate that. So thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you very much.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Have a good day.